Sunshine gleamed through my eyes, as if my eyelids were simply glass. I always hated sunlight. It's just too happy. The moon seems better. And don't call me a werewolf or anything senseless like that. I just prefer the quieter and more somber tone of the moonlight. And it gives me peace. It's something I can always look forward to after a long day of work. I closed the blinds to stop letting the sunshine in. Instantly, I felt a strong sensation of relief. The small state of Wisconsin had always been too sunny for me. Then again, any place that has the least bit of sunshine I probably hate too. And I think it's also too sunny for me. Heck, even Washington, where I came from, is too sunny for me. And it's known as the rain state. I walked towards the kitchen to get a glass of water. Grabbing the large glass cup, I went to the sink and flipped it on, ready for the flow of liquid that gives life to shower into my cup. However, I was greeted with just 4 to 5 drips of water, and then nothing. I'd heard news about the drought of Salisbury, even from how little I go out. People talk about it on the internet, the newspaper, and things like that. It hadn't affected me, so I never really paid attention to it until now. The moon pulled the tides of water, essentially making the water at the mercy of the moon. A servant, if you please. Anything related to the moon is quite dear to me, so I had to go investigate. I browsed the internet for at least what I thought was an hour, looking for some source of the drought. It's odd with the drought. Just 2 days ago, it rained plentiful, and rain isn't too uncommon, so no one really knows where the drought is from. I tracked down the central pipe that dispenses water in our city. In our town, there's this huge water tower underground which connects everyone to their houses. It's odd. Who would put a water tower underground? I had to do another hour of searching just to find the address of the tower. It seems almost as if it was supposed to be hidden. I exited my house with the address printed onto the white slip of paper. I took off on my puny little bicycle. I've had the bike ever since I was a little child. Ignore the sunshine, I told myself. I felt angst as I was riding in the sun, and my throat was parched. I had to get myself something to drink. I stopped my bike near the bike rack at the gas station. I went through the door, looking for a water fountain. Not seeing anything to drink from there, I guess I only had the option to buy a water bottle. I looked into my pocket for some cash. I had about $2, or about £1.50 for the people in the UK. I looked at the price of the water bottle. It was a whopping $5. Once again for the UK, around $3.50. The drought was way worse than I had originally thought it was. Worried, I even checked the bathroom to see if there was any water in them. They stunk awfully, as there was not a single drip of water in the toilets, so they had nothing to reduce the stench or flush the waste down. I hastily exited the bathroom and head back to my bike. Another thing I noticed was there seemed to be less people out today. By normal people's standards, today would have been a beautiful day. But there were as many people as there would be on a very quiet one. I continued biking towards my destination, address in one hand, both grasped onto the handlebars. I wasn't as good as I used to be, and my hands were shaky due to dehydration, and it had been a while since I rode my tiny bike. After about 10 minutes of riding, I finally found my destination, mostly by accident. I rode over a manhole and fell off, scraping my elbows badly. A groan of pain and disgust left my mouth, looking at the raw and bloodied skin. Once I regained from the dust and dirt on the ground, I inspected the manhole's top more closely, wiping the grime off. It read, Salisbury Water Storage, and some dates and names that were so gungy that it made it impossible to read. I went through the entrance, leaving it open for the light. I stepped down the ladder. The shaft didn't have a single source of light, so I had to let the sunshine guide me. It was the first time that I didn't despise its existence. Once I stepped off the ladder, I noted that I was in a tunnel made of cracked and rusted stone and iron. It went down, and there seemed to be various shafts to the left and right. But looking down, I saw a dim light. I slowly walked down the stone steps, making sure that I didn't trip or fall. I was halfway there, and the sunlight was completely gone. I swear, I saw a silhouette of a figure with disfigured long fingers at the end of the tunnel for a split second. It just dashed past. I hesitated on continuing. I contemplated what I could have seen, but maybe it was just a man running by in a hurry to get things working. It was probable, but most likely, I was just hallucinating. I hadn't had water in about 36 hours. I was injured, and I rode my bike, so I was exhausted mentally and physically. I decided to resume my careful walk towards the light in the tunnel, watchful for that thing. I did a quick search of things that I might be able to use as a weapon. All I had was a bunch of sand in my bag. I finally reached the light and was greeted with a huge square room, dimly lit. I looked around for some kind of light I'd be able to pull to make it brighter, and then I found a switch. Flicking it, I heard a loud buzz, and the lights came on. I wish I hadn't turned the lights on. I should have left. I should have just ignored the drought and assumed it would be over soon. Or maybe I should have just left the town entirely, because then I wouldn't have been able to see that horror. I saw piles of bodies, hundreds, maybe even thousands on the floor, still bleeding. Women, men, and even children. They had giant red gashes. You could see the veins ripped out and thrown. And the sickest part? Some were still alive. They were moaning, and in weak, tired voices begging for help. I realized what the cause of the drought was. Where the bodies were lying was the exact same spot where water should have been. The bodies were clogging the water. Barely any water was getting through, but it'd be going through those dead, mangled bodies, full with blood and bacteria. Then, I had another question. What sick monster could have done this? 1 week ago, I moved away from Salisvar. I can't stand thinking about that horrid place nowadays. That creature killed everyone in my old town. It hunts people down like a savage. People have been disappearing lately all over America, and the radius is spreading. I'm concerned I'll be next. Though there's one more thing that worries me in my new town. There seems to be a drought going on. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And if you enjoyed today's story, make sure to leave a like. And if you want more like it, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a story. If you need more now, why not check out my Creepypasta playlist? I'll leave that on this card, and I'll catch you in the next story.